Beginning in Newbury on the morning of December the 31st, 1957, is the tale of one of the most horrifying crimes in Vermont history. On New Year's Eve, Orville Gibson, a well-known and prosperous dairy farmer, got up at 3 in the morning to milk his cows. 66 years ago. Rolling out of bed, he put on his boots, wrapped himself up, and went outside carrying a metal bucket. Gibson crossed his lawn, went over the road that separated his house from his barn, and entered the wooden building. He was never seen again. It is uncertain what happened to Orville Gibson, as he disappeared for less than 3 months before resurfacing in the Connecticut River. 85 days after his wife filed a missing persons report due to his absence. A struggle in the barn was indicated by a damaged milk pail and shifted grain sacks, leading the officers to develop several possibilities. One officer suspected that after a few months, fumes from the decomposing body would push it to the surface. Even though the river was searched early in the quest, Gibson was bound, indicating that the death was likely a homicide. Everyone, including the police, suspected that a quarrel with the farmhand might have resulted in murder. Gibson was taken into custody just before his abduction on suspicion of attacking Ari Martin, a farm worker, on Christmas Day. Martin claims that because of 2 big bottles of spilled milk, Gibson physically assaulted him. However, Martin had come to work drunk, and when Gibson instructed him to go home and sleep it off, Martin violently spilled the milk. Martin then broke his ribs as he fell over a cart. Gibson was charged with breach of the peace and served with a summons. It is interesting to note that Martin acknowledged to authorities that after a fall, not an assault, may have caused his injuries. 2 local males were eventually accused of the crime. They both received acquittals. Both local small-time criminals, Frank Carpenter and high school janitor Robert Orzo Ozzie Welch, were accused of the crime but found not guilty. On the morning of the disappearance, a local doctor testified that he had observed Welch's 2-tone Kaiser automobile parked on the Gibson farm. When Gibson's body was shown, Welch cried, "By God, boys, that's my rope." He provided 5 different versions of his locations on the morning of the crime, after taking so many tranquilizers that the police could hardly keep him awake when he appeared for a polygraph test. After Welch was found not guilty, he was heard to remark, "I never thought I was guilty." Rumors started circulating in the town after the trials, saying that up to 50 residents were aware of the events of that morning. Locals speculated that Gibson was smothered by mistake by a gang of 9 inebriated men who had planned to tie him up and leave him on the town square to be found, according to a 1987 newspaper article. It is unlikely that we can ever fully understand Gibson's journey to the Connecticut River. Most of the townspeople who were present when the crime was committed have either moved on, are deceased, or are just reluctant to discuss it. Before closing, I would like to add that there was a book written about this crime by a retired judge. You can find the book on Amazon. He believes that Gibson took his own life to spite his neighbors. I did in fact read the book. I do not believe it simply because I read the autopsy report and there was no water found in his lungs. So to me that means that whomever killed him dumped his body in the river hoping it would go away. I I do not believe a dead man can dump his own body in a river. Also, Gibson's niece was alive when he passed. She was in high school at the time. It upset her family very much. They never got over it. She has read the book and says it's trash, that her uncle was very happy at the time and he would never have taken his own life. Also, she believes that her uncle was treated unfairly because he was not a mean person at all and was very affectionate. You all know I love talking to you in the comments, so leave your thoughts below. I hope you have a very safe and happy New Year's. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.